I was without my phone for a couple days last week. I left it at my in-laws. Thought, well, this will be bliss. It was not bliss. It was very frustrating. I had my wife's phone number memorized, but I realized, to my horror, I do not have in my memory the phone numbers of my children. Why would I need to memorize that? So this is going to be a project of mine this year. I'm going to memorize a phone number every day. Really, just to get some of those things back in there. Do you know your best friend's phone number by memory, or do you just sort of boop it? Your brain is a muscle. You have to work it. You have to work it. And all of the work that we do on our screens is largely passive. Just remember that. The phone wants to erase your memory. That's not too much to say that. And that's a scary thing. At least the capacity for it. Moral peril. The phone is a pornography vending machine. And unlike most other vending machines, it's free. And it seems to give you a sense of anonymity. So this brings us to isolation, which is not a good thing. Phone time is alone time. Isolation is a choice, and it's a very bad one. The devil wants you in isolation. That's the place where he can tell you no one understands you. That's the place where he can tell you that you are alone. That's the place where he can tell you that your despair is really the thing that you need to keep you going. He'll give you the answers, right? No. He'll keep you where you are. And he loves isolation. Like any predator, he loves isolated targets. The flocking mechanism is for real. We are social creatures. There is strength in numbers. People will see us sometimes more objectively than we can see ourselves. Yeah, it's one of the devil's favorite tools. I talk to this maybe to the great annoyance of my students. There's a line between maturity and immaturity. And at some point we all cross it. The longer you try to stay on the immaturity side of things, the worse. The sooner you try to get over into the maturity side of things, maybe the worse sometimes. Hyper-sophistication is a dangerous thing. We see it all the time, certainly physically. But when you are on the immaturity side of that line, the thought that anyone can understand you is insulting to you. I am unique. No one knows what I know. No one experiences what I experience. And we all feel that at one point in our lives. The other side of that line is the recognition, it's called maturity. It's the recognition that everyone ever has felt exactly what I'm feeling. It's a great consolation. The human condition is universal. There are particulars that apply only to you. It makes you you, and it's beautiful. But the devil wants you to think that no one has ever been through what you've been through. You would be surprised. This is a Q&A section, which is probably not even legal. But I bet the old folks in the room here would love to sit up and tell you some stories about just how naughty you are. Yeah, I used to get bored doing what a lot of young people go to confession for, thinking. And that's not a boast. That's why I gave up any hopes of a reasonable or profitable career to work for the church and to teach, which is essentially the abandonment of a reasonable and profitable career. What else would I do? I don't know. Nothing anymore. The other problem with isolation is that we delude ourselves, especially with the phone, into thinking that somehow that is social and that is real. And it is neither. It's actually cave dwelling of the platonic sort, of the worst kind. All right, so what do you do? First of all, what would your high-functioning troglodyte self do? Okay, remember, I've got the buttons. Remember fallen nature. You've got limitless, instant access to everything, seeming anonymity, seeming impunity. And you are not likely to spend all this time on your phone doing spiritual reading. The irony there is, if you did spend all your time online doing spiritual reading, you'd probably be very proud of the fact that you did that. So be careful even there. Limit your time. Really, be honest. Track the time you spend on your phone. It does that for you, by the way. You all have that. You just go to the thing and say, how long have I been on the phone? And this time warp of phone time is really remarkable. If you think you've been on the phone for minutes, you've probably been on the phone for hours. If you think you've been on the phone for an hour, I can guarantee it'd be several. These are averages. Many priests have said this. Father Philippe Pazat was the one who told it to me first. He said, time is the altar on which you make sacrifice to your God. He said, huh? Yeah. He said, wow, it's true. Time is the altar on which you make sacrifice to your God. Not too much to say some people actually worship these devices. Certainly idolize them. Here's the average. 4 hours, 30 minutes a day. It's the average amount of time people spend on their smartphones. I'm pretty sure it takes more time for my mother to text the 16 smiley face heart emojis, misspelled words than it should, but she's probably on the phone for about 20 minutes a day. There are people who are spending at least a full working day's worth of hours on the phone every single day. Be honest with yourself. The average, 60 checks of the phone, and half of these are at work. Now, I don't know who you are out there, but I guarantee some one of you has checked your phone 30 times today. That's just the thing. The smartphone is a tool. A loaded gun is a tool. All right? The more dangerous a tool is, the more careful you have to be with it. But we don't seem to assign danger to the smartphone, but you only point a loaded gun at something you intend to kill. And that's okay. If you want to kill something, then you point a loaded gun at it and you pull the trigger. A lot of people spend hours a day with their smartphone pointed at themselves. That's more than a metaphoric danger. Anyway. All right. Practical. Bed check. Sleep with your spouse. Sleep with your cat. Don't sleep with your phone. Please, don't sleep with your phone. I'm serious about that. And for those of you who are grumbling, I see your I hear your teeth clenching out there. You'll take my phone out of my bed when... What are you doing in my bedroom? That's creepy. I see what you did there. It's my only alarm clock. It's my only alarm clock. No! Get an alarm clock. It's great. They get louder when they beep. Did you realize that? Beep, beep. Yeah, etc. When I left the house at 2:45 the other morning, I was about halfway to Kansas City when I really, really hoped that I had turned off the alarm clock, so I wouldn't start screaming at my wife at 5:10 in the morning when it usually goes off. All right, keep your locations on. This might be an ironic tip, but don't be in the habit of thinking that you're hiding from anything. Let it know where you are. Let them, whoever they are, know where you are. They do anyway, and you should not think that you have anything to hide. I console myself with the knowledge that God sees and hears everything I do, although sometimes I'm ashamed of what he sees and hears. You are on camera at all times. You realize that? You're being recorded and observed and heard, and God, your guardian angel, they're all watching. It's a little disturbing sometimes, but you're not hiding from anything. So what do? At least, never in bed. So keep the phone out of your bed. Let's start here. And challenge yourself to do this. Never in the company of others. This drives me crazy, and I'm not quite ready to say it's just an old guy thing. But when you see two people who might be conversing with each other, both texting at each other or that's disturbing to me. It should be disturbing to you. What would I miss? I don't know, but you're missing the human being who's standing in front of you. That's a real intrusion on reality, and it's a real, if you think about it, it's kind of insulting to your friend who's standing right there. So that's a challenge. That's a challenge.